An error occurred with the output.
Oh, it says.
Hello, are we functionally
Are we?
alive? Fun thing.
Yeah.
You said an error occurred, and that made me nervous.
Yeah, but then it immediately started like normal, so who knows?
Yeah, it's got the little like banner around
we've
your.
got someone in chat. Hello.
We've got someone in
Yes.
chat. Ah!
What's happening?
Florian's
We're
in chat.
live.
Oh God, it's happening.
Florian, hello.
I'm gonna
Yeah, it
try
seems
to
like
figure out. We're here.
Yeah, we're up. We're going.
Yes.
Oh,
Excellent.
terrifying. Okay.
So good.
Great.
Okay.
Hello.
People are
Hello.
gathering.
Hello.
The
Welcome,
question
people
was
flooding
the
in.
stream even happening? And the answer is yes. Great. Excellent.
Yes.
I'm sorry, we were looking for yes, great, excellent as the answer.
Yes. Truly a stream of all time. Correct. Thank you guys for joining us. We're going to give it just a little second here to see who pops in, but this is going to be our mid-season 3 Q&A live stream. We'll be on for about an hour, just answering questions from the chat and some questions that were emailed to us. Thanks to everyone who sent their questions in and who has been listening to Season 3. Just a little warning is that there could very well be spoilers for stuff that has happened up to this point. So if you are not caught up, just be aware that it is not entirely guaranteed that we won't talk about things that happened last episode.
In fact, I would say it's possibly even likely.
Yes, very much so.
Possibly likely.
Possibly likely.
Extremely likely, one could say. Great. So, hi, we're the
Oh,
cast of
50%
Rolling with
chance.
Difficulty. You guys all know that because you're on this live stream.
Yep.
We took a week off for vacation, and now we're back. There'll be a regular episode this Friday. But I guess we could just kick it off if everyone is feeling fun and funky and ready to answer some questions.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Shake
Relaxed,
the dust off.
hydrated, ready to
Shake
go.
the cobwebs off. Let's get back
Yeah,
into this.
I've got a stein that Wally left at my apartment just filled with water, so I'm ready to go.
Awesome.
Like a huge tankard thing.
It's
The
not
best
quite
way.
that big, but
Not big,
it
but-
sounds dramatic when I say it like that. So
Hydrated,
Sure.
hydrate.
Yeah.
we're going to take the first
It's not
question from our email here. But chat, please
Whoa.
feel free to drop questions in chat. I can't promise we'll get to every single question that we receive and or have received thus far, but we will do our best. But this first question comes from Puck in our email. Hiya, really stoked about playing the College of Feasts in a burgeoning campaign a friend of mine is running. I decided to supplement it with 3 levels of Rogue to reflect my IRL line cooking experience, which I thought was
Hey.
extremely funny. Could
Hey,
you
that's
talk
right.
about-
Yes.
Could you talk about developing this subclass and what kind of characters you envisioned playing it? It's reading very bolstering a comrade's spirits with a warm mug or taking the time to keep everyone healthy in the way Finbar does, and I think that's amazing. Thank you so much. The College of Feasts is one of the pieces of bonus content currently up on our Patreon. It is a Bard subclass, and Wally and Austin, I think you guys are probably the ones to talk more about how it was developed and kind of the ideas behind it.
Yeah. When me and Austin sat down to sort of figure out the bones for this subclass, we decided that okay, ultimately this is more of a like the support subclass and more in a like buff your allies type of way, and not necessarily like debuff enemies. And sort of that was like the main philosophy in determining a lot of the features. And then from there, we just threw in together sort of the flavor that we wanted with some of the core mechanics that we wanted to introduce to sort of like the bard, more healing abilities at the end of the day.
yeah, definitely. I think you kind of said it in the question, right? This feels like a subclass that's like handing a warm, comforting mug to your allies. That's when you're creating player options for, especially a subclass, which is a big player option, right? That's the toolkit they're going to be playing with for the entirety of that character. You really want to hone in on what is the fantasy. If I write down College of Feasts on my paper, what do I feel like I should be doing? What's the kind of stuff I feel like I should be doing, in universe diegetically, and then how can we make mechanics that that support that? And there's a lot that goes into it because like we said, obviously being a support of a character who buffs your allies is that's that's a huge part of it. But there's lots of different characters that support and buff. So how do you drill down? Well, you start thinking about, making active decisions. We always want you to have an active thing you can do. I don't really like subclasses that have like once per day you can do this awesome thing. It's like cool, and then you're done. Then you're just a regular old warlock. So
yeah,
trying to have
One
active
use
things
only.
to do, and trying to make it that your abilities are not overpowered but reliable and useful. So that's how you get the you can end detrimental effects, you can end conditions on your allies, and if they use their inspiration to do that, they just get the maximum on their inspiration. So you are very good at pulling your allies out of that funk, out of paralysis, out of whatever it is. So it's niche but extremely useful, guaranteed. And when you're in a fight against the basilisk or whatever and people are getting petrified, you're going to feel awesome because you're pulling them out of it with those inspirations, guaranteed. So that's how that
Like a really
goes.
great-
And then and then you
great
come up with
approach.
18 different ideas that you love all of them. and you
That was the
spend
tough part. Yeah, we had
but
a
except
list
for-
of like
yeah,
8
except for
different features.
the capstone. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
The capstone being that you
Dang.
can get to cast Hero's Feast for
yeah.
some like lesser requirements was very. I forget when we came up with that, but that was one that we were like, definitely that goes on. But yeah, we had tons of other stuff, and there will be. First of all, I'm stoked someone's going to play it, and we will release. I think maybe the end of this month we'll release a survey, just a very brief thing, just to like, hey, have you played it? What did you think? Give us some thoughts. Then we're gonna release it on the DMs Guild, so anyone will be able to get it from there.
Extremely cool. This next question comes from the chat. Sir Lightning Potato. How tall is Dani? Dani's like 5'1", 5'2". She's a little short.
Wait,
thing.
really?
Yeah.
I thought Dani was like 5'5".
Nah, man.
Dani has like an
No.
inch or two on Kyana then.
No, Dani is canonically the shortest member of the crew.
Kiana just has short energy. Also,
I feel
Kiana
like
is
Kiana's
shorter
also
than Dani.
very short.
I
I
thought
think
Kyana
Kiana's
was
under
5
5
even.
feet. Yeah, like
Oh.
What
like,
the heck?
Yeah,
like
there's
about
this-
5 even.
What is this shortness arms race that's going on? I swear every time it comes up, your characters get shorter. Meanwhile, Finbar and Virla are standing at like positive giants.
It's high contrast, right? It's like it's
Yeah.
important that
I
there's
s-
2 tall boys for every short king.
The funny
Yeah,
thing is, like,
I-
this is the opposite of what's happened in the Heart of Olynthe campaign I'm also in. Not to cross promo, but like in that one, I kind of assumed I was like middle height, but everyone is taller than me, up to and including the Arakocra, who I had initially assumed was like a little orbular owl, and is instead like a gorgeous
Hold
harpy
on.
lady. So
Hold on. There's a problem. I think there's a problem if the kobold is taller than you.
Oh, the kobold's not taller than me. Sorry. Yes,
Okay,
you're
okay.
right. My mistake. He just has
All
that
right.
energy, you know?
Yeah, of course.
Well, that's
I
just like-
fully thought that Kyana was like 5 foot, Dani was 5'5", and Virla was, Virla and
That's
Finbar
what I
were-
thought too, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Nah, she's a shorty.
Okay, all right.
She's old. This question taken over from the chat here. Grace Honeycutt. If the crew was the Scooby-Doo team for a session, who's who? All right, guys, let's assign ourselves Scooby-Doo characters.
Oh, great.
Oh.
See, no, I just get stuck with Fred. Ultimately,
I was gonna say,
Unfortunately, yeah.
whoever drives the
Argument.
car is Fred.
Argument, though.
No, that
Would
would mean that
Finbar
Virla's
not
Fred.
be an excellent Shaggy in the food
That's what I'm
appreciation
saying.
department?
Okay.
Food.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, wait, is the
And
question
Virla
for,
drives the ship and
for
has a
Fred?
habit
Yeah.
of making traps.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Fred.
You know what?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Virla's
no,
Fred.
Fair enough.
And he already kind of has the scarf, so the ascot's covered.
But is
That's
Virla
true.
Yeah.
Velma? Because
I
Oh,
think
Kiana
we're
got kidnapped twice. She has to be Daphne.
Kiana is
She's
100%
Daphne,
Daphne.
I think.
That's the only
Yeah.
one I'm 100% certain of.
I think
Who's
we're
the
running into
damsel
the
in distress
same.
now?
I think we're running into the same problem that we did when we were like, oh, which rolling with difficulty 5-man band people are. Is that
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
it's not
Lack of
really a
leader.
great thing to like. Both Virla and Dani could be the smart one. Both Kiana
Frankie,
and
because you're
Finbar.
Fred, aren't you?
No, I want to be Fred. I want to be the earnest trap guy, assuming that we're talking about the Mystery Incorporated.
I was gonna say,
Oh,
but
of
Yeah,
course.
there
Mystery.
are different iterations.
The Himbo
of-
King.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, Plug is Scooby Doo though. Like that.
Yeah,
no,
that just
absolutely.
gives
Yeah,
it away.
that one goes without saying.
Yeah.
100%.
Ruh-roh, Raggy.
Just
And the pseudo dragon gets to be Scrappy.
No, hey, hey.
hey.
The late arrival specifically designed to be cute. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Although Chad is making a good point that Dani could be Shaggy because Plug is Scooby.
That's true.
That's a weak connection, I think. The only reason why
Danny's no
Danny is Shaggy
coward.
is because Plug is Scooby. Plug is Scooby.
Yeah,
Then,
that's fair.
Yeah.
Right, good work, team.
There
I
we
want
go.
that fan art on my desk by next Monday.
Hey.
Hey.
Oh
we'll
god,
take
it's
a,
still only Monday.
yeah, we'll take a question
gosh,
from the
yeah.
email next, I think, just to mix it up. This one comes from Caliburn to Austin. Who are your favorite NPCs to play and why?
Oh my goodness. I think perhaps I've gotten this question before, and it's a hard one because it's like picking children, but it's not that hard because I do like some of my children more than others.
Wow.
For legal reasons, Austin has no real children.
I have no real children. The answer is that just like having a good time. I'd say there's kind of two camps. There's in the moment who is just like I get to just really cut loose with, and there's other ones who are I think a lot about this character, and thus I'm very excited whenever I get to play them because I feel like I can reveal stuff about them, and I'm very prepared to play them because I'm thinking about their headspace and their desires and all this constantly. So in terms of the first camp, it's Davian.
Yes, yes.
Davian,
Let's go.
Davian with the note that also Cressida, but Cressida kind of falls into both camps. But Davian is definitely the most like, he's just so off the cuff. He really has no deep internality. He's sort of all on the surface. And that's not to say that he's like dumb or anything, but to me it's like I never have to be like doing chess on what he might say. I know exactly what he would say. In terms of complicated, Maxim, I feel like I really think about Maxim a lot and how much like what he would say and react to things. When Virla asked him in episode 2 of this season something about gods, that was like a really fun moment for me because I was like, I know exactly how he feels about that kind of stuff. So I think maybe Maxim with a note that also also Elise is probably in there. So,
I feel like
there you
Davian
go.
also has the advantage of like the Banderas accent, you know?
Oh,
Just,
yeah.
like,
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although this is
Yeah,
the
well,
thing
yeah,
about,
Davian
like,
just gets to be charming and fun.
Austin
Yes.
has like a series of accents that he's at any given moment waiting to do is the thing. So, like, and that's not one
This
of
is
them.
true.
So I'm surprised we've only had one instance of like the Kronk, and we have not seen Doofenshmirtz yet, which is absolutely
God.
shocking.
Oh
thing is-
god.
No, don't speak it into existence.
The thing is, I've thought a lot about what an NPC would have to be like to get the Doofenshmirtz voice, and it's there's a lot of criteria that need to get met. We don't
I
need
feel
to get
like
into
a
it right
kobold
now.
or something.
Yeah, a kobold. I'm a fan of Spurt from Critical Role. I feel like that's
Oh,
like
yeah.
sort of the ideal
Okay.
kobold voice.
Yeah.
11 days. You know, so
High pitched Danny. We're all
Also-
familiar.
Yeah.
I understand it. I do see you guys in chat. Ione. Yeah, it'd be cool to see Ione again. I know where she is. I'm just waiting for these guys to find her.
It's a big planescape.
It's a big planescape. That's the
Speaking
problem.
of
So,
the
you know.
size of the planescape, we got a question in chat from Emma. What planes of existence is the crew looking forward to visiting in the back half of this season, or perhaps future seasons? We'll just say for future seasons, for the sake of not speaking anything into existence. But what are some
Okay.
planes that you guys are excited to go to visit?
I just got through doing an illustration for I should put this on the Redbubble, the Planescape map, which involved
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
up the visual descriptions of a lot of the planes we haven't been to. Most of them were like hell dimensions, but we haven't been to Isgard, and I think that would slap because if any of
yeah.
us die heroically, we just come back the next day.
I'm gonna die
I
like
think that
a
would be the best
coward.
place.
Despite
That
you
is
all.
true. People who die heroically in that plane come
Yeah.
back the next day.
I think that
Yes.
would be the best place to have our first canonical player death because it would be temporary but still dramatic.
You're assuming that
Also
we die like
canonically-
heroes and not like the little bitches that we are.
Well, I don't know about the rest of you. I'm planning on going out like a badass.
Also, canonically, Isgard looks like Iceland, right? Because we
That's true.
figured that
Well,
out.
canonically,
Yes.
it looks like if Iceland exploded so
That
hard that
is-
gravity stopped working.
Yeah.
But other than
That's
that,
where
yeah.
4 out of 5 of us were last week, and why there was a delay in the episode. But both in that it gave me a nice break to edit, and also 4 of us were in Iceland, and there was no physical way
Yes.
to put an episode up while we were there.
It Yeah, it works in multiple ways. We also
Mhm.
pushed back, like, because we're almost done recording, but we're not done recording this season, so it gave, like, I didn't have to prep something while being away. It gave us some time, so.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I hope you guys enjoyed the cliffhanger of episode 5. We promise it gets solved in episode 6. I think we should go to Cars Ride because it would be funny. That's my hot
Oh,
take.
come on.
Carcerai.
Carcerai is fun
I
because
was-
there's no way out.
Yeah,
I was watching.
yeah.
I was watching Red draw Carcerai, and I'm like, this makes no sense. I mean, it makes
No,
sense,
it's
but it doesn't
stupid.
make sense.
It's planets
And
strung
it's-
together like pearls on a string or something, and then in each layer,
inside
the
the
planets are
planet.
smaller and shittier.
Inside the planet is a smaller
Small
planet.
planet.
See, now I'm worried that
Hole
there's a
in the
Benoit
planet,
Blanc
planet,
NPC
hole.
in this campaign somewhere because every guy who had a Bane impression now also has a Benoit Blanc
It's-
locked in.
I
I
mean,
do have
we
to
were
say, that's one of my
discussing.
least favorite TikTok things, is people doing Benoit Blanc voice.
Well, we were discussing the possibility of like, you know, if we ever move on to a new party, we could be a bunch of like hard-boiled sigil detectives.
Yes.
We'd be fighting each other for who
Crime
gets to do the
sigil
Benoit Blanc.
investigation. Fade your
Every t-
investigations. It's happening.
Red's character's the last one to leave, and then she turns around and says, "One more thing."
Hey, just one more thing.
The thing is we each have to
She's
be a
from
different detective.
Planescape, New York.
Yeah.
New York.
Yeah, but we got more questions from the chat. This one comes from Dani. Hey, that's A.
Hey.
Everyone's favorite
my
class
IT.
and subclass.
Ooh.
Oh.
This is easy for me. Bard's favorite class, hands down, not even a little bit close. And I'm kind of a basic bitch, so I'm gonna go with lore. Although I got a lot of love for whispers and
Whispers is so good.
glamour as well.
Mm.
Bard, baby. It's shocking that I'm not playing one in
think-
this campaign, frankly.
I was surprised that we had no bards because I thought we were going to have to ask one person to not be a bard. Is how I
Well,
assumed it would break down.
Sophia and I
I'll
made a
go
blood
quick.
pact
Yes.
that
Next
the next
campaign.
campaign
Both
we're both
bards.
doing
Bard.
bards. Yeah.
Two
I
bards,
think-
hard-boiled detectives.
Yeah.
You could be the two funny guys while the rest of us are serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's never
Yeah,
happened before. Not once
All right,
have
so-
Sophia and Noir gone off on a weird little tangent together in the background of an episode. Surely not.
So I'm a non-naturalized immigrant to the lands of D&D 5e. So instead of giving you the subclasses that I've never dealt with, except for this one game, I'll give you my favorite D&D 3.5 prestige class, the Shadow Dancer, which turns you into Nightcrawler at higher levels. Just gives
Ooh.
you free teleports between shadows. If you're a rogue, you get sneak attack every time you bamf out of it. So it's incredibly broken, just like everything else in 3.5, and that's why I love it so.
Bard boiled detectives points. Mason makes stuff. Good job.
Hey.
It's gotta happen now.
Favorite class, druid. Favorite subclass, probably the Stars Druid, which I did play in a
So
campaign Wally ran, and it's pretty epic when you get. Finbar is not that high a level in Druid, but it's pretty epic when you're in a fight and someone's gonna get knocked down. They're like, oh, they hit my AC by 2, and you get to be whoa and roll a dice and lower it. And,
It's coming.
and they miss. It's extremely awesome. So.
Oh, that's coming for Finbar. I'll tell you right now.
Yes.
We're on the cusp of
Honorable
that.
mention to Divine Soul Sorcerer because you can break the game. It's
One thing that's funny to me about 5e is that they were like, it doesn't seem right that paladins get to hog all the paladins and clerics get all the celestial magic, and warlocks get all the demon stuff, and sorcerers get all the dragon stuff. So we're just gonna shuffle it so you can just do whatever the fuck you want. It's like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
There are
Cool.
rules. It's fine.
Let me be unnecessarily broken.
It's like, I want a warlock with a pact with a god. That's a cleric, you punk bitch. Anyway.
Good stuff.
all right. Is anyone still going or?
Oh wait, no, I didn't.
Wally.
gotta
Favorite
think.
class is Ranger. I love playing Rangers, all kinds of Rangers. They've been extremely underpowered up until Tasha's hit. But with these fresh new variant rules, they're actually really fun to play at the table. Favorite subclass would not be a Ranger subclass. Actually, it would probably be War Wizard. Just due to the
Ooh, it's a good
sheer
one.
amount of versatility that provides in like a multi-class. So War Wizard in tandem with like an Eldritch Knight is probably like my favorite combo.
Yeah,
like-
you created a devastating bad guy.
Oh yeah, I did that.
I think we almost died fighting him, and we had to like leave and then go back.
Oh yeah, it was a good time.
Yes.
Well, I haven't actually played I haven't had the opportunity to play D&D all that much. I don't know when you started playing 5e, at least, Austin, but I haven't really actually played a lot of characters.
Because you're a perma DM, right?
Perma DM.
Like,
Well, yeah, that was the case for a while.
yeah, that'll do it.
But I might have to go same as Sophia. I like lore bards, just kind of classic, you know.
They're simple, but they work so well. They're so versatile because when you get like 2 extra spells every couple levels, you can really build an incredibly customized character with like very few limitations.
It does feel like every cop show has those 2 guys, the ones in the background that are just kind of doing their own thing until occasionally they get focused.
Oh my god, I'm the Denozo.
We're Michael and Hitchcock.
What?
Yeah,
Denozo is one of the core cast.
Yeah, but like
arguably the second most important character.
The other one's in Castle. Like one of them's the funny guy and the other one's the serious guy, but it's always
like
those
Castle,
guys.
exactly.
It's always Denozo and what's his face.
McGee?
McGee, yeah. They always get sent off to do little
You think
duo
Denozo
things.
McGee? Or I can't get into this right now.
I can't with you right now.
All right, well, let's take
Next
another
question,
question from the email real quick, and then we'll jump back to the chat. This question comes from Etta. Hello, all. In the Individual Adventures episode, Dani got a new leather jacket, and Sophia briefly mentioned her adding new patches to it, but she didn't mention what designs were on them. Would it be possible to get a description of her customized getup? I've been embroidering patches for a jacket of my own, and I would love to add a rolling with difficulty themed one to the collection, especially if it's an in-universe character costume detail. First of all, that's incredibly cool. Hell yeah, that's rad as shit.
Hell
yeah.
As for the patches, I know I want them on there, but honestly did not think through too many of what would they be. I saw some fan art in the Discord for a user whose name I am blanking on that did have Dani's patches on the jacket, and there was one that said "Problem Causer."
Yep. I think that was Orc Art. They follow me on Tumblr and mostly post Aurora fan art. And they slap.
Super cool. I love that art and also that patch. I do think it would be fun to have a little like plug face, so she can have a little plug with her everywhere she goes. But I also think it'd be incredibly funny to just have like an actual plug and not like that you would plug into a socket and just have that represent plug on the jacket.
That's pretty good.
The idea of like Dani making a tiny plug raises the possibility of if she could just make a very, very small copy of plug.
Another second
or
smaller
we
plug.
Simply shrink plug. Yeah, a second smaller plug.
That's who I think. I think the actual scrap you do of the Prasper would be like Dani's first prototype. No, it would be her first prototype of plug.
It's a proto man of plug with a cool scarf.
Yeah. Just kind of like shoved off to the side and neglected. Sophia, I don't know if this was captured in recording or anywhere, but I remember I asked you, like, did you ever like get a jacket for Egan or something like that? Just because like it felt like kind of round circle. At least in the flashback memory, it was the 3 of you, and then
I think she'd get a
episode
little
2.
patch for Egan on there. Maybe like a little like wrench with his name on it or something, just equivalent. Because I feel like Dani's personal aesthetic and also her way of choosing things is just like, ooh, shiny, I want it. So any patch that looked vaguely cool would probably end up on there. But definitely I think there's something for Egan. There's probably something for like the heap generally. A little plug equivalent. And of course Problem Causer, because again, that's just hilarious.
There was also a bad girl on there, which was great.
Also great. I think she should also just have some like random vintage ones that she picked up that she has no idea what they mean though. So
like a campaign
just
pin
elvish.
for like some long deposed Lord of Hell.
Yeah, like a biker club that no longer exists or something, and she's just like, I don't know, it looked neat. I feel like that probably fills up a non-zero amount of the jacket.
Nice.
Warlord Vice for Supreme Ruler of Hell.
That'd be extremely funny.
Yeah, right?
You meet him and Dani's like, oh.
Yeah. I get it now.
You don't look like the picture. The Dani voice is so relaxing to do.
We're getting a lot of questions about how long we've all been playing. I don't know.
Whoa, Nelly.
I was about to ask that one next. How long have we all been playing D&D? I started playing Pathfinder when I was in middle school and then switched to D&D kind of late high school-y. So I've probably been playing D&D for about like, nearly like 8 years or so. but I
baby.
rarely DM, so I'm still very bad with the rules and all that. Yeah, but I think I like playing a variety of TTRPGs. D&D has always felt very comforting and homey to me, so I like to go back to it. But I started on Pathfinder, so I have no loyalty. I will play anything you put in front of me.
Pathfinder is just D&D, but without the commitment. It's fine.
Yeah.
I started when I was 9. Joined my parents' TTRPG group that had been running since I was didn't exist since before I was born, when my parents were in college.
Nice.
So when I was about 9, they were like, "I think she's ready," and they like ran what started off as like a fairly normal D&D game, and then quickly exploded.
No way.
Literally, like the entire universe kind of shattered, and we had to figure out what to do about that. That's kind of par for the course. It's one of those gaming groups that's been gaming together for so long that everything is like 8 degrees of separation removed from any source books that might have at one point been involved. So I've been in this for like 17 years. Yeah.
Cool.
God damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're old folks.
Not that old, apparently.
I think this has come up before, but if I'm correct, Wally and I both started on the exact same day in 2018.
Yes. Correct.
Our very first session was the same session and started on 5e. But so I'm a lot newer at it than I think anyone else. But I have played at least once a week basically since then. Usually twice a week. Often DMing. I started DMing. I mean, yeah, sometime in 2018 I ran my first one shot, but I think my first campaign that fizzled out, I started in like 2019 or 2020 or something like that. It didn't last very long, but yeah, that's how long I've been doing it.
Yeah. It always surprises me when you say that you started 2018, because that's when our group campaign started around that time, I think, as well. Because
A few months later.
your life has been so densely populated with Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
You grinded out like the
Yes.
inherent knowledge needed. I think I
speed run.
Sorry,
Yeah, exactly.
Victoria.
I think I started around the same time as Sophia, at least when she, given the timeline that she gave, 2015. I was the one, like, my friends had, discovered Critical Role back when it was like part of Geek and Sundry,
Yeah.
like first campaign stuff, and then they sort of got me into it, and then all of us collectively were like, hey, we want to play D&D, and then one of our other friends who had been playing for forever and was like, yeah, we'll do 3.5, and then that fizzled out, and we were like, hey, we're gonna try this new 5e, and that was my first foray into it, and then it kind of fizzled out over the next couple of years, and then it wasn't until 2018 that I started playing at least Dungeons and Dragons, and then that's branched out into other TTRPGs more obsessively.
It's wild to me that Critical Role made D&D sexy. Like,
Yeah.
I was the one in middle school getting bullied for it, and now it's like the hot thing, and I love it.
Yeah, it's very funny to me too, because like Red, you and I both I think came into this through either parents or older geeks. Because my dad played. Anyone who's listened to the Movie Shark episodes with my dad in it will know that he's very cool in a nerdy way. But he played D&D a lot when he was growing up. But when it was still more of like a combat dungeon delvey game. So when we were playing Pathfinder, it was a very different experience and very different like onboarding to what the point of the game is than I think people who came up in the Critical Role post the rise of the actual play era did. And then that's nothing wrong with that. That's extremely cool. We make an actual play. We wouldn't be making it if we didn't think it was very cool. People were getting into the game through this. That's probably my favorite thing that people say to us when they're like, oh, I decided to play my first game because of this. I'm like, hell yeah, this is super fun. Everyone should do it. But it's
If
an
anything,
interesting like
One
way to see like the different play styles. Different play
That's the
styles.
best reason to do an actual play.
Yeah, I think that if anything, what Critical Role did is popularize a form of RP that up until then was not the dominant D&D thing. Like,
Nope.
D&D was like renowned for being like the haven of power gamers and munchkins and like kill the monster, steal the treasure, stab your buddy, that kind of thing.
Then they got the theater kids into it, and now it's
Then they got the theater kids into it. I mean, the theater kids have always been into it, but they were a struggling minority until Critical Role made it cool. And then it's like, They also made it look a little bit easy, I think. So a lot of people were like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is what D&D has to look like. It has to be this beautiful cinematic experience. Everyone has to do voices and be in character almost all the time." One thing I really like about how popular actual plays have gotten is that you kind of get to see that every DM is different and every game is different. Just playing in Olynthe, I was like, there was a moment in the last session where we all like fully broke character and like stepped back to be the writer's room for a second to be like, okay, your character wants to do this. The party's not gonna do that, but like your character wants to do this. So like, how do you want this to play out? Like, are you okay with me like restraining you? Yeah, that would be great. Let's do it. And I've never seen an actual play do that before, but it's such an interesting insight into how the game can be played. It's like you spend your time in character, you play out the character drama, but you're also the writer's room, and you can step back and be like, how do we want this to go, actually? So it's very cool, and I'm happy it's
I
happening.
think that's awesome. Yeah.
Extremely, extremely cool. But let's
It's such a dense subject, but yeah, we
let's
should
take
move
a
on.
few more questions here. This like another one from the chat here. Reading is hard.
You
Quick
got this.
question.
A few
Did
for
Dani
me, but
or
I don't wanna-
Sophia rehearse the speech that she gave to Otto in season 3, episode 1? Nope, not at all. I'll improv,
Off
baby.
the dome, baby!
The thing you have to understand is that
kids!
Sophia is not Noir.
Nope.
Yeah.
I
Well, okay,
don't
no, here-
plan
that- I was
anything
going
in
to say
advance
that.
except for
Like-
the entirety of this podcast. So when it comes to the actual
Excuse me.
story, I'm just yes-anding everyone else.
Well, see, I'm the scrub who has to like, you know, prepare a speech beforehand. I think it's way, way more impressive to just like, you know, spit something off the cuff like that. And I think, you know, as far as, you know, peeling back the curtain, that makes it even more impactful. And so I was flabbergasted when that happened in episode 1.
Yeah, that
So
was really
that
both
was-
of the lasses of the show get to show off their acting chops inadvertently at the very
Yeah.
end of the
Aw,
episode.
shucks.
Yeah.
We both got to whip out the fake cry.
Yeah. That was fun, too, because, like, I have kind of minimal experience acting. I did 1 quarter with a theater program in high school, and then I decided it was too scary, and I left. But as we were building up to that conversation, I was like, if I just let myself kind of sink into this character, I'm going to start crying for real, and I guess that's what acting is. So it was really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a fun time with it because I'm usually the comic relief, so this was nice to get to like preview what the Dani season might be like. I don't know.
Yes.
I haven't really
Let's hurt
prepared.
Dani.
I haven't prepared myself for the reality that like, Dani's gonna have to be like a full character for a while, so I have to like actually be ready to carry some plot. Everyone else has been doing the heavy lifting thus far, and now I get to do more than do bits. Oh boy.
It's okay if you get kidnapped. Then you're the center of the plot, but also you don't need to do anything.
Yeah, that's right. Dani can
Downright
be the
relaxing.
first player death, and then we can bring in my backup character for a session and go break her out of hell or something. It'll be fine.
No.
Yeah.
This is what you wanted, Red, right? This is how you saw this going.
I mean, honestly, I wouldn't say no.
All
Kiana
right.
hasn't had enough opportunities to angst yet. You
We
know?
wouldn't have.
Yeah.
Also, we wouldn't be breaking Dani out of hell. We'd be saving hell from.
That's also very true.
Yeah.
Do you
True.
think
We
I'm
get
not gonna
there and,
use
like-
Heleven and Vice as an opportunity.
I'm not trapped in here with you.
I've got too many ins now.
Climb the
Let's take
ladder.
another question from chat here. This comes from the Cottage of Curiosities. Do any of you guys have a particularly favorite official D&D module for any edition? I remember a joke about Barovia once, and it made me curious. I am particularly a fan of
Right.
Oh my
Curse of
god.
Strahd.
That's
I mean, we keep making Strahd jokes. I've never
Yes.
played it. It's probably
Me
fun.
neither. Well, actually, no. I have
I-
played. I played. It, Austin's brother played a very, very condensed Curse of Strahd, where basically we just dungeon crawled the castle. I'm pretty sure, and in a session we like killed Strahd. I think it was just me,
Yes.
Sophia, and maybe
Yeah.
one of our other friends.
Oh, I love my
Oh,
character.
yes.
in
Austin, was
that
it you?
session.
I think there was 3. It wasn't me. I've had
Okay.
the opposite experience where when we went into lockdown, my brother ran for myself and some of his friends Curse of Strahd, and we ran all the way up until the dungeon castle Ravenloft, and then people started to get busy, and we decided to take a few weeks off. And that was years ago. And
That is the most
someone, by the way,
D&D
asked,
thing.
"Is there a question? Is there a character you ever want to go back to?" Yes, Bishop Brown, normal ass dude in the party of all these overpowered gods, who's just in it to kill Strahd, the literal
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye of the group,
The Matt
literally with a bow
Fraction
and
Edition
arrow.
Hawkeye.
Oh,
Yes,
we love
that
it.
was him. He was always getting like the shit beat out of him, but I'd rolled really well, so I had like crazy constitution. So
Perfect.
somehow he was the tank while also being the ranged archer. It was very fun. I miss him. I hope one day he gets to put a fucking arrow through Strahd, because one of my favorite moments ever was the beginning of the campaign. Strahd comes to take whatever the damsel in distress for this adventure is. And all the other characters who all came up with these backstories about being legendary monks from this lost citadel and like all these other things are like fighting off these dire wolves and shit like that. And my character just has a non-magic bow and was putting arrow after arrow into Strahd's chest. And then he walked up to me and threw me across the room. And ever since then, I want... One day I could stake that bastard.
That's great.
I have a lot. I mean, Strahd is, you know, the vampire one. It's iconic for a reason. I loved my character from that little one shot. Even though I got turned into a rat by a polymorph and did not get to do much against Strahd.
Wop wop.
Rip. But I have a lot of fondness for Waterdeep Dragon Heist. I've run that a few times for some of my younger family members and also just other people. I think it's a good little intro if you want to do more about like one location than like the traveling, because I think Waterdeep is a particularly interesting setting if you really get into all the nitty gritty of it. And it's I love a heist, you know. I love
Heist is good.
I love
Oh,
solving
yeah.
crimes.
Did
And
not
there's a
answer
lot
the
more
question.
investigation related stuff going on there. So that is my personal favorite module, and then, you know, the Dungeon of the Mad King, etc., that goes after it. But Dragon Heist in particular, I've run that a few times, and I do really, really enjoy it.
Nice.
I haven't played too many D&D modules. I will say, though, that I have a soft spot for the sort of the little adventure that goes with the D&D starters kit. The one where basically they
Bossman's a
have...
Flamfloople.
No, not
What?
Fandelver. It's
Oh, different one?
It was or was it the Essentials? It was the new
Those
one.
were words you said?
It was the
I was
new
thinking
one
it,
where basically they had like stat blocks for sidekicks that allowed
Oh,
you to
Dragon of
just
Outlier Peak.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
What would I keep in my brain if it wasn't all this useless junk?
I have a soft spot for that because a couple years ago my partner was interested in playing D&D, and because like, you know, it was just us two in Boston and no one else. I got it, and you know, we played a couple of sessions together, and so, you know, I just have fond memories of playing that with her. So
Nice.
Yeah.
I do feel like I didn't answer the question. I'll answer very quickly. I don't know that they're all of the modules are. I think there's probably like stuff that's good and bad about all of them, but for all of its flaws, I really enjoyed Descent into Avernus.
I was just about to say.
I was gonna say
Yes.
Wally and I played Descent into Avernus. That was an extremely epic campaign. Really enjoyed it. But my favorite one that I've ever done that I think is actually just straight good is in the Wildmount book. There's a bunch of first to third level adventures that you can run, and Tide of Retribution is just solid all the way through. It's epic. It's brief. It's got pirates. It's got sinking islands. It's awesome. So that's mine.
Yeah.
oh, that one's
That's
fun.
one that currently is suffering from the.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna finish.
None of us.
We're gonna finish
None
it.
of us have. We're gonna finish it. 2
We're
sessions.
gonna finish
left,
it. We're
guys. 2
so
sessions
close. We're
left.
literally
Yeah,
like 2 sessions away.
Yeah, that's one of the
Ain't that
characters
just
to
the
kind
way.
of like impound another question on here. Characters that you played like once and would want to play again. My warlock from that mini campaign, I love her so much. I want to play her and everything. She has a little dumb lizard because I like to have little dudes.
That
Hell yeah.
kickstarted my love of dumb little dudes.
Yeah.
Fully just like the best marine iguana of all time. No notes. I love Bart.
Stupid Bart.
I love him so
Us.
much.
Or
Speaking of pirates, the Ghost of Saltmarsh, that book has a lot of really
Ah.
solid adventures. I think our DM for me and Austin's table ran one of the one shots from there, and I've been at other tables where we run other parts of the book. Really solid, fun stuff, fun pirate theme stuff. Some of the monsters from that book are also fairly good, like the drowned themed creatures. And in terms of characters that I would like to replay again, I once built a level 14 Stars Druid that uses both wild shapes to become a flying eldritch octopus, which was extremely fun to run for the one shot that we did.
forgot about that.
Very cool.
God.
Very, very cool. But we'll take another question from chat here. This time for Red, do you see Kyana continuing her barbarian training and choosing a path subclass, or gaining more monk experience and eventually unlocking Suvi's astral body? Or is it a combination? So what are you're multi-class. This is new for one of our player characters other than Finbar. What are you?
Yeah.
What are you? What's the plan? What's happening?
Yeah. Plan is a strong word for what's going on here. I think I might have talked about this in a previous stream, but I had this sort of moment of realization that Kyana has not made a single decision in her life except to run away that one time. And I was like, yeah, I can take another monk level. But who was it who made me a monk in the first place? Oh yeah, the mind flayers. Maybe this isn't 100% the healthiest thing for me to do. And the way I've sort of been playing this one barbarian level is like, oh, there is power to be gained from admitting that you have emotions sometimes, which I think is a really interesting turn on its head from the way that, monks, especially monks being raised by fucking mind flayers, would have been taught to function. So getting one level and getting the rage was already very useful. Tactically has saved my ass on multiple occasions at this point, because having damage is crazy when you only have 60-something hit points. Getting more levels with Barbarian is a bit of a tough call right now, because level 2 is almost nothing, but level 3 you get to choose the path. But my next monk level gives me a lot of good stuff, so I'm not trying to metagame here. It's just I think right now it makes more sense to continue doing dip your toe into the whole barbarian self-actualization stuff and figure all that junk out. While still also being like, but I am really good at this. This is the thing I've trained in my entire life. It is kind of cool that I will be able to walk on water.
You just need a ring of water walking.
Yeah. But the next monk level I take, I think lets me do it essentially lets me wall run and run across water, which I could, I have the slippers of spider climb. They're very useful. They kind of do the wall run thing anyway. So I think that's why I took the barbarian level in the first place. I was like, not only is this monk level redundant, I have a really good in character reason to branch out. So the TLDR is I don't have a plan, and I'm going to figure this out the next time we level up, which it better be fucking soon, considering the thing I have to do in the next thing, which is a spoiler, so I'm not going to tell you.
Should you survive the next thing?
The next thing.
Very
thanks,
possibly
man.
might be a level up in your future.
Oh, how generous.
Oh,
Hey,
okay.
if you complete great deeds, then, you get a reward.
Great.
So.
Excellent.
Suvi is Henry Cavill, yes.
Guys, we can't do this.
Also, question: who's the hot one in the crew? It's Finbar, right?
It's Finbar. Yeah. Why is that a question?
Have you seen how many exes he has? Dani has no exes.
Notches on his bedpost, heart's broken in his wake. Yeah.
I love having the list of Finbar's exes. It's so fun to read.
He
it
still
every
has
now and
that,
again.
yes.
There might be some use. I do feel like there's no way we could get to all of them.
I feel like we gotta do
definitely
a
we should
one-shot of
tease
just,
some that we'll never meet.
Finbar's
But
Scott Pilgrim journey. Right?
I was gonna say, I think
Oh
we
my
just need a
God,
Scott
yes.
Pilgrim season.
I just wonder how many of them were just the that meme of "you're stupid, I like that in a man."
It's a lot of them.
This question comes
That's
from...
also what Davian has going for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big
Morosexual.
time. This question from the email from Gatraz. What's everyone's favorite food/drink? And for Finbar and Elise, what's their favorite to make? So I think this is in reference to the character's favorite food and drink, and also the best favorite of our resident chefs to cook. Dani's is anything spicy. Particularly, if there are those spicy instant noodles, like the flame ones, that's probably
Come on, man.
It's cheap. It's flavorful.
Just a bag of flaming hot Cheetos
Spicy
with Frank's Red
20-cent
Hot in
instant
it.
ramen.
Yeah.
Crucially, does Dani know how to cook it? Or is this
No.
one of those
Eat it like a
Obviously
biscuit.
not.
Why
Yeah.
is it still crunchy? Did you put in the flavor? What?
She
You mean the little
probably,
preservative packet? I threw that out.
Danny-
No.
Cooks it,
Danny-
but not long enough, so it is still there are
Danny
soft bits
smashes
that
up the
are
noodles, crunches
Oh
them,
my
and then snorts the
goodness.
powder.
what about the rest of
Awful. Worst possible answer.
you? I think I won.
God. Kiana's favorite is anything new.
That's why she keeps
Finbar actually doesn't have that complicated of a palate. He likes seafood. He likes bar food. Nothing too crazy. He kind of learned all the fancy stuff in as in culinary school, and he's like, okay, that's cool, I can do that. But like some of the simple stuff is sort of his favorite. And in terms of the kind of food that they like to make together, Elise kind of takes over in the kitchen. It's better for both of them if you know if Finbar just lets Elise do what she wants to do in the kitchen, and he does his best to help out. So yeah.
Yeah, I think go on, Viola.
Oh, yeah.
Noir.
I think Virla's favorite meal probably would have been something that Finbar cooked, like in the time of Praspera. I don't know if he would have remembered eating anything beforehand. So
You don't take a bite of something and then have like a Ratatouille style flashback to.
that's how he figures out his past. He's just got. Yeah.
If only were that easy.
I know. I mean, I don't know. I don't think it would be anything really significant. Nothing like the Storge or anything like that. But I think just a certain meal that Finbar had cooked. Right now it's nondescript because we never fleshed that out. But something that Finbar cooked would have been his favorite.
Nice. This question also comes from the email from PR Stevens. For Sophia and Noir, what are the key features in playing a high-int, low-whiz player character? Great question. It's such a deep and nuanced thing. I have a low intelligence, so it's easy for me to make dumb choices, but then I can roll really well on tools checks. So my answer is just be dumb, and then when you have to roll, you can roll well, and it'll all balance out.
She's doing method.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is it in D&D? The difference between wisdom and intelligence is like
it's like book smarts
versus street smarts.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess like if you wanted like I don't know a definition type answer, it would be like someone who's very academic, maybe like was eager to learn a lot, but was very sheltered as a child, and so then when they went out to go adventure, they have absolutely no sort of instinct for how things work in the real world. That's not really the case for Virla. Virla actually has decent wisdom.
Yeah, it's very.
I guess how you would play a high-end, low charisma character is a whole other thing.
Yeah, I found out recently,
yeah.
like there was an episode we were recording and we talked about what our wisdom scores were briefly, and I thought, Noir, that Virla's was also very low, but actually you're a positive modifier, and it's just me the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like, compared to Kyana and Finbar, like,
well, yeah,
Virla's
but they're
not even on their level.
Characters.
Virla has a wisdom that's, kind of the base standard, He has enough self-preservation. Well, not recently, but he has enough self-preservation to, like, not do anything, like, too stupid.
I like to think of playing a high-int, low-whiz character, because there's a lot of different ways you can play them, right? It kind of depends on what the specific one you want to play is, but in my general assumption in Dani, it's she is the reason that Michael Crichton wrote novels. She never stopped to ask if she should. Because wisdom would tell you whether or not you should do something,
it's all
but
coming
intelligence
together.
is all asking if you could, and that is 100% the way I play this character.
Actually, I'm thinking about the Zugutmoy portal.
I'm thinking about shooting the motive force generator as move 1 in combat.
There's gonna be. Virla's probably the same way as well. He probably got that from Dani now that I'm thinking about it. Just like
Virla's picked up some bad habits.
There's also a moment in the upcoming episode, slight spoilers, where like something happens and then like one of us apologizes and then like me and Sophia are like, nah, we would have done the same thing, don't worry. So yeah.
Who is Michael Crichton? Michael Crichton is the guy who wrote Jurassic Park. And
the old your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could that
they didn't ask themselves. They didn't take the time. Yeah.
Dani's response would be like, yeah, but then we wouldn't have Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
If Dani was in charge of Jurassic Park, no one would have even made it to the island in the first place. The dinosaurs.
It might have been better. The whole thing would have just burned before anyone got there.
They already had a volcano.
That's the one they did with the volcano.
More questions.
Yes. More questions. Will we ever get a Rolling with Difficulty Beach episode? Answer the question, Austin. Let us go to the beach.
There's a lot of sand in Pandemonium, and that would be a good place to go for my enjoyment, not for the characters.
There's no oceans in Pandemonium, and we'd all go deaf in 3 minutes.
Yes, but there's a lot of sand.
That's true.
So, Battle Royale style. I don't know how I'd run a game that was Battle Royale, but I'd love to do a Battle Royale one shot and watch Finbar kill everyone.
Yeah.
Depends on how speedy I am.
Is there a beach episode? There's been, I don't, you know, I like to give them some doubt. As you've seen, sometimes they get a break and then it's not followed by an eldritch horror.
That's
that
the
does
thing. I do
occasionally
worry that if
happen.
we had a beach episode, the second half of the beach episode would be the new scariest
Yeah.
thing that's ever happened.
We'd
to
be
us.
fighting aboleths or some shit.
Yeah.
Drowning would be an environmental hazard.
It's
I
a
feel like
beach
there's
episode,
a-
but it's the beach episode from old. You know.
Yes,
Oh God!
the beach that makes you old.
The beach that makes
Yeah,
us
that was
old.
not a good theater watch.
You watched
What are
that
you
in
talking
theaters?
about?
Yes,
That was a
yeah, we
blast.
saw that in theaters. Yeah.
The thing you have to keep
We're
in
getting
mind
away
is
from
that, the point of a beach episode is to give everyone a break, and that's sort of undramatic. And if these guys ever figure out how to spin all the plates that I've tossed to them, I would simply add more plates. They should never be resting, because that's how you keep drama up, and you need to give them breaks and victories. But overall, there can't just be huge valleys of nothing happening, because then, you know.
Episode.
But
2
we're not a
was-
150 episode TTRPG we're we're smaller, so we keep things going.
We
Episode 2
subtweeting
was the
Matt Mercer
closest.
again?
Again.
You gotta stop,
There's
dude.
plenty of
That
you know,
wasn't a subtweet. That was just fact. You know? Like, yeah, we're
I
not,
do
we're
have
not
to
a
eat my
long
hat.
podcast.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
Dani did use Windwall, and I now have to eat my hat.
Indeed. I have no choice but to have it prepared every day. It's not up to me.
Wait,
Unlike-
can you prepare spells?
Yeah.
Yes.
Artificers prepare
Yes.
But you
spells, I
don't.
just choose
But you
not
don't.
to.
She doesn't.
That's not. No.
That's a negative
Remember
wisdom
when
for
I
you,
said
folks.
I'm method acting high int low whiz? Yeah. But little brain can't handle having to change spells every in-game 24 hours, so I just pick the ones I like I'm playing a bard or something, and then I only use those.
Sure.
Danny
Sure.
could just have Revivify at any time.
She sure could.
That would be startling if she used Revivify. I don't even
Oh my
know
goodness.
how I would
You
react.
need to buy a new hat just so you'd
I
have
have to
something
buy a new
eat.
hat just to eat it.
Yeah, and people would turn blue every time she used it. So
Oh my god, yes!
Mm.
It all turned blue. It's all coming together. Okay.
God,
Yeah.
Revivify is the within 10 rounds one, right?
Yes.
Yes. That's
Within a
like
minute, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a defibrillator, basically.
Yes.
Okay, cool. But because it's a form of resurrection, it's
Use it
still...
for
I was hoping we just moved past it, Noir.
I was fully ready to just let it go. I was like, I catch every single one. I can let
Oh,
this
God.
one slide. And then Noir was laughing so much. I couldn't let it go.
This is what happens though, because I'll say something silly, and then Noir starts laughing, and then we both start. This is what happened with Honk Shoe, everybody. Me. It's a stupid thing
Yeah,
only
yeah.
for Noir, and then both
Yeah.
of us were dying in the background of a very serious moment.
Okay.
Fuck, okay. Whew.
Oh man.
we're good. We're good.
Oh man.
Great. Yeah.
Grassblade, really quick. College of Feast subclass is actually on our Patreon right now. If you subscribe at the $5 or higher level, you can get the quote playtest version. But we are going to release it on the DM's Guild at some point for anyone to get. So
Yes, it's out there.
those are the options.
Another question from chat. What is the best line you've said in character, not just in this campaign, but ever? So what's your best line you've ever said in character?
Fuck.
Honk shoe, everybody. Me.
There you go.
Fuck. That's a good question. That's something I'm going to be thinking about for a long time. Does anyone have an answer? Or should I give my bullshit?
You're bullshit.
I gave once a sort of off the dome speech for in our big epic defeat Rage of Tiamat campaign. That was we'd saved El Terrell, and now like the world was Tiamat had escaped and the world was, but there's so much backstory here. Anyway, he gave a really nice speech about how they were gonna the war that they'd been losing, they were gonna start winning because they had been to hell, and so they knew what true nightmare was, and this and though they'd gone to fight a war on other shores before and lost, this time the devils had brought the war to them, and they were going to make them pay. And the city that had fallen will never fall again, it will rise. And then he cast a 10th level spell that we'd gotten from the distant past and made the city fly, and that was pretty epic.
Hey.
That was pretty cool.
So it's not a whole quote, but it was a pretty good, it felt pretty good in the moment.
I don't remember anything I've said in my life.
Yeah, I was
so
literally
Chad's gonna need to help me out on this one.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the best thing you've said.
The funny thing is sometimes like OSP stuff breaches containment and makes it onto those incorrect quotes blogs and then just kind of comes full circle. But that's not quite the same thing as this.
Yeah. I feel like I have favorite moments, but I couldn't tell you like a quote, you know? Like I couldn't give you a line necessarily.
Yeah. My favorite thing isn't necessarily a quote, but it is a line that was said, but the moment is kind of what really makes it. So one summer, talk about cross posting. Blue and Cyan of OSP ran a really quick sort of like every session you level up kind of thing. Yeah, evil campaign. They had made this bullshit world. I think Blue might have put it on his, the OSP Twitter at some point, but I played a mime bard. So
mime bard.
Yeah, so my whole shtick was that, you know, I'm a bard, but I don't say anything, and everything that I had to do, I had to explain, and, you know, it was basically just like physical comedy. But of course, as is my wont, I had a very tragic backstory behind it, and he was like, you know, like in which the mime was traumatized by some really horrible event, so he vowed to never speak, is what it was. Well, cut to, I think, one of the, like, kind of midway through the summer, and we are, like, laying siege to some fort or something like that.
Oh,
and a fort at night, perhaps?
Yeah.
Right, I'm so sorry. I'm so tired.
Everyone's hiding in the bushes because we're trying to stealth in.
Wow.
And then Cyan says, Mime, you see the person who instigated this very, this, you know, the whole traumatic backstory thing. And not really thinking about it, I, as the mime, yell audibly, like, what? Both breaking the whole mime thing intentionally, because, you know, he's going to get catharsis from killing this guy. And then also just, you know, ruining the stealth plan entirely. And then afterwards, the mime was an asshole. He should have stayed quiet. So.
Was this before or after my cleric thought
That's
that
after
I had...
you confused
Yep.
anti-life
Okay,
shell
never
with
mind.
glowing invulnerability and took 800 arrows.
Yeah.
Cleric cast anti-life shell and walked out into a field and was like, everyone shoot at me. And
Oh, yeah, that's not how that spell works. Yeah.
That is the only time I've ever played cleric. It was Death Domain cleric. She was the son of the god of death, so Hades, essentially. AKA, I was Zagreus before it was cool because I died every single session and then just came back the next time like it was nothing. No, that was... The mime was something. Read your spells, kids. Read your spells. That's all I'm going to say.
That's like my nightmare scenario. That's why I read the descriptions of the druid spell list like in triplicate before I try casting anything.
That's not nightmare. That was really funny. I think that would be great to see on an actual play.
God,
Here's
nightmare.
I'd like to read spells exactly enough so that I know how to ask questions to potentially abuse them, which is how you get things like catapulting a bomb off of the side of the ship and then insta-killing four enemies.
God, that was incredible.
Right, that's the coolest thing I've ever done. But if you read the rules as written of catapult, it's not exactly clear that that's how you could use it. So you gotta just read your spells like exactly enough to know how to abuse them. That's my take on playing a spellcaster.
That reminds me, nobody
just a
uses
little bit of
sending
willful
stones
ignorance.
correctly.
No, we do not.
They should all
And I love
like
that.
answering machines.
It's evidence in my my overarching thesis. Stay tuned for a video in like 3 months if I can ever fucking finish it. About how the widespread usage of cell phones that makes the world so much more connected than it's ever been these days has changed the way everybody's brain works. To flip it from being in communication with somebody over a long distance is a exception to the rule, which was the previous way things worked, to being in long distance communication with everybody is something that should happen whenever it's convenient for me, and if that's not happening, it's a sign that something is wrong. So people use sending stones like cell phones instead of you can use these to cast sending once a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We like our
also
we like
mind
our
blink doesn't
walkie-talkies.
work if the person's out of my view, but you know I didn't want to say that when I was inside a volcano.
Is that true? Wow, good to know.
I'm sorry,
No,
it's been on my character sheet the whole time. I guess.
Wait. Am I thinking of?
They can only reply to my mind link if we're within like view of each other or something.
What am I thinking
Suvi.
of? That's
It's
the
Suvi.
one that lets you is it the warlock or no, the sorcerer, the Evermind sorcerer that lets you connect and then it lets you be like 7 miles apart, but only for
Yeah.
7 minutes, and it makes
Yeah.
no goddamn sense. Because how
Yeah.
could you get 7 miles apart in 7 minutes?
I gotta
it's so
mention
dumb.
that. What the fuck was it? There was like a thread. I want to say on like on the Giant in the Playground forum.
Love Giant in the Playground.
Oh yeah, I mean, I love Order of the Stick, which is on that website. They had someone had found a way to use Magic Mouth to build an entire like interconnected phone system.
That's
By
great.
essentially using grains of sand enchanted with highly specific magic mouths to recreate electronic components. I tuned out
That's
15 paragraphs in.
fantastic.
Yeah,
That,
I kinda-
that
shit.
smacks of a peasant railgun.
It's
That's-
fucking bananas. This is like there was a version of D&D where like I think if you were like a fighter and you used Great Cleave and killed something, you could move 6 feet. You could move to the next square over and attack again. So if you had like a chain of kobolds stretching across the continent, the fighter could just Great Cleave their way through them and cross one end of the map to the other.
Yeah, it's exactly like peasant railgun, where it's like every
Yeah.
peasant holds their action to move the cannonball from one person
Yeah.
to the next, and then you just shoot it.
This game is fucking stupid. This is why I like that we've got this new more like RP heavy style that Critical Role has sort of promoted. Because back in the day, you'd have people arguing with the DM about why they should be allowed to make the peasant railgun, and it's like just because rules as written allows it doesn't mean I'm gonna. Whereas nowadays it's like, well, but would it be in character to build
It's
the peasant
important to
railgun?
have a healthy respect for your DM saying no, but also sometimes you do have to ask the question. Hi, I'm Sophia, and I like to push the big red button when Austin puts it on.
Hey, I wouldn't put them there if I didn't want someone to push them, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the reason you want them to push us is what concerns me a lot of the time.
It's cruel to the rest of us. Putting
Well, it's-
our party is composed of 50% compulsive button pushers.
Hey, high five.
Honestly,
Noir.
that's a pretty low percentage given most
Yeah,
parties.
It's true.
You could have grains of sand basically saying like 1 or 0.
That's
Oh,
pretty
Jesus
much how this ended up to be.
Christ.
I'll
And
find the
you've-
thread
you've
for you. I
created a
can't.
transistor. You've
Yeah.
created a transistor which allows you to add, which allows you to multiply, which allows you to do anything.
Ay. We've got time for like 1 or 2 more questions, then I think we actually do have to go. So to
Yeah.
not end on peasant railgun, this one comes from the email. Which character would you most like to meet?
But like in real life, or
I guess.
Or like our characters would like to meet.
I think.
I imagine if you were a person, you as the person, if you were a person, imagine you're a person. If you were a person, like, who would you want to meet which character? It sounds like to me.
Yeah, Finbar,
Ah.
because he would feed us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Finbar is the most likely to be kind and not get me into danger. So that does seem like an obvious choice.
I think Davion could take me on a cool
Oh,
like
you know
tour
what?
of
That's
the
right. Is
Planescape.
Davion an option?
Yeah.
Davian's always an option.
David's always an option.
Cressida
kind of a
would
bitch
be
like that.
interesting to hang out with for a day.
Yeah, I think Cressida would get grading
Oh.
because the problem with Cressida is that she's very, very
Oh.
confident that she's cooler than you.
I'll take her.
So there's definitely a kind of person that she's into. Yeah.
Just for a day. After that, we'll see.
I forgot my boy, Roy. I got one.
Oh,
Roy.
yeah.
Oh,
Fair
thank you
enough.
for sending me
Roy's
this
a pretty
red.
good
I'm
choice.
gonna,
Yeah, I apologize in advance. This is gonna be worse than that fucking hat problem rabbit hole.
I solved that one. I'll let you
good
know.
job.
Yeah.
Let Noir's logic puzzles from vacation infect this live stream.
Hey, that wasn't his fault. That was my friend's fault.
I feel
Nice
like
did it.
Hira would like you'd get to see some dope shit if you hung out with Hira for a day.
It's true,
Why
yeah.
Oh,
does
yeah, true.
Davion look like Will Turner, Orlando Bloom? Because that's a pirate.
Hot pirate specifically.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's pretty good. So I don't describe the NPCs that much. The first is because it's one of the last things that comes to my mind when I'm like running the session, but also because I really like that people come out with very different looks for like there's been so many different Elise looks I love seeing. There's a couple different Ione that have been really cool, but I think if I had to describe Dave, I do love him as being like a pretty boy, but I feel like he looks a little he looks spooky. Like I feel like his cheekbones are too like a little too sharp, and his chin is a little too
Maleficent energy.
Yeah, he's a little bit Maleficent, I think.
Because of the whole
which,
Joke's
you know,
on you.
for
That
some
only
people,
makes it
yeah,
more
I was gonna
appealing.
say that I feel like that does work for the internet, but
Yes.
Because of the tiefling stuff, right?
Yeah.
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 yes, I
Oh,
imagine
boy.
that first of all he's a tiefling from like many generations back because tiefling like reads true. If you have a parent who's a tiefling, you're gonna end up a tiefling. But I think he also got cross. Like I think he also has a devil on like his mom's side that came in there, so I think he's tiefling twice over.
Oh, awesome.
Spicy
I-
boy.
Yeah,
I've always
so,
imagined Dev Patel.
I do think that's funny because my tiefling that I played for 20 levels, I
Was
think it was
Dev
looking
Patel?
like Dev Patel. I think
Just Dev Patel.
it
You
was
got-
looking like Dev Patel.
You
We
got
need to
Dev
get a
Patel.
Pedro Pascal in here somewhere.
We
Like
do.
we gotta
Oh my
get somebody
God.
with
How
that
have I not
energy.
done
Yeah.
How have I not done
Yeah.
a
Oh,
Pedro
wow.
Yeah,
Pascal?
we
The
need that
problem is-
energy of like effortlessly sexy, but every picture of him that's not like putting on a character, it looks like that one picture of the hamster doing the like peace sign.
That's amazing.
We need that, and we need like Ben Affleck getting Duncan in here somewhere.
Huh.
I feel like we're just reinventing Galir from Dimension 20.
I would love a
No,
Galir.
he's way more bad.
This is actually a question I have for the cast because I think about
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
sometimes because obviously we're actual players now. But do you ever think about like what like Dimension 20 or Critical Role person your play style is the most similar to? Because I did a little soul searching and I used to think it was Sam Riegel, but now I'm pretty
Yes.
damn sure it's Emily Axford.
It's Emily
It's
Axford.
Emily.
You're both chaos goblins.
I was gonna
Oh, God.
say, I feel like I'm Murph in the terms of like I am lawful neutral player. I will make sure all rules are adhered to both for the DM's benefit and for the player's benefit, and I want to be punished for my bad choices.
Liam O'Brien, my beloved.
Oh god.
Oh, you're a big Liam
So
O'Brien.
deeply.
I
Yeah.
feel like Zach Oyama's.
I
think
was
what-
going to
what,
say-
What player described it as his word economy being like incredible? Like he's quiet a lot of the time, and then he says something that's
Yeah.
either incredibly hilarious or heartbreaking,
Yeah.
and then just everybody has to just live with that and move on. And like that's who I aspire to be.
Yeah.
Somebody who can actually shut up. I'm sorry. I also want me to not be doing this.
I see me doing this and I don't like it either. That's
God.
really funny.
That's so good. That's so
Yeah.
good.
I don't think I'm
own the
self-aware
same
enough of my
sweater
play
as
style
Emily
to be-
Axford. We both
Huh?
probably bought it on
Huh?
ModCloth in the early 2000s. It's
There we
yellow
go.
with red stripes. She wears it in a few of the early Fantasy High episodes, and I saw it and I was like, the Spider-Man pointing me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I aspire to have the Travis Willingham play style.
Oh, yes.
He's a
Which
great
is-
player.
He's great, and
so smart.
I love his philosophy on D&D, which is like you could do the safe option,
But why
but
would
the
you?
other option is the one you'll
Yes.
remember forever.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's also very good at like lifting up his fellow players, which is not to say that the rest of the table are selfish role players or anything.
No,
but
no.
by watching him, I am always amazed by how he seems to always be like, yeah, how can I like, okay, spotlight's on me. How can I just expand it to like bring this person in next to me? So he
Yeah.
did that with Bo a lot, and
Yeah.
I think because
I mean-
a lot of characters will glom onto one other. So Caleb
Yeah.
and Not, for example. But I feel like he was very good at like making relationships with all the characters. So
Yeah.
The fact that he managed to make Grog work when Grog is like kind of a joke character and kind of a stock character, and then it just turns into like this really sweet character. Like I'm just very impressed with what they did with him in season 2 of Legend of Vox
It's-
Machina. Honestly.
You need to be
yeah.
very smart to play a dumb character well.
Yeah,
you know?
and it's
So-
fun how you can sometimes like when he drops the Grog voice to get tactical in campaign 1 because he's like,
Yeah.
we gotta do this.
Yeah.
And he's like,
Such a
oh, sorry, I
smart
can't
player.
read.
well, that's the brilliance of Ford too. Is Ford gets to be
Yeah.
like so charismatic, so dumb in wisdom, but like so smart in terms of like, hey guys, let's make a plan here. Come
Make
on,
a plan, yeah.
We're all
No,
we're all gonna
it's fun.
die.
When
And
in
honestly,
doubt, dump your whiz stat, baby. It always
No,
is a good
don't do it.
idea.
Don't listen. That's the devil talking.
Excellent plan. Hey.
But also, I honestly really like playing a support character sometimes. It's A, much less stressful, and B, you can do a lot with a little, honestly.
Yeah.
Just like a little thing that gives somebody else something to respond to that highlights an aspect of their character that maybe hasn't been seen before. Or just something that plays up like the tragedy of something they've just done or the coolness of something. It's like A, relaxing, and B, surprisingly easy. So yeah, that's my ideal.
Wally, what's yours?
Oh, God. It's tough. So in terms of like Dimension 20, like I would love to be like more like a Zach Oyama, but
Oh,
like
yeah.
Lou energy
Oh,
is
Lou.
another thing
Lou is severely, I think, underrated, and
for
people
sure.
like him. It's just,
Yeah,
I think it was when I was watching, it might have been Calamity, where it just reaffirmed what I already knew, which is that Lou Wilson always understands the assignment. He always
Yeah.
brings the energy that he has to. So
Yeah.
in Fantasy High, he's like, I'm going to play a ridiculously flamboyant, sheltered rich boy, and then in fucking Unsleeping City, Kingston Brown from Uptown, and it's like he seems tired, he seems chill, he's
And
just
then
like
in
a
the court
dad.
of Faye and Flowers.
Faye and
Sheltered
Flowers,
rich
another
boy.
flamboyant rich boy. If I had a nickel, I'd have 3. But then like you can kind of tell in Calamity, he's sort of the character who's not really doing as much as the rest in the early stages, where it's like when they were having the conversation, like, how nasty are we? You know, like how much are we pulling the strings behind the scenes? He's like, yeah, I'm a little nasty. You know, I'm probably like doing some financial stuff, but I'm not like dimension hopping nasty or whatever. So in the early stages, when it's like the calm before the storm, he's like the one person kind of trying to mind his business and do his job. And then when everything goes to shit, you can kind of tell he's like, oh, I'm gonna get a chance to shine, and he does. He gets a really, really good one, and you can kind of tell he was like waiting for it. Damn the ring of gold, etc.,
Nice.
etc. Lou Wilson always understands the assignment.
Absolutely. But before we get too deep into saying how much we love the entire D20 cast, we should probably take one last question and then wrap this up. I think we got a
Humbug.
good one in chat to kind of go out on. So, what is a non-spoilery character detail you haven't gotten to show off much that you really like about your characters? So, like a little character quirk or something that's not a spoiler necessarily, but that we haven't had an opportunity to share off in campaign.
I have one, but it is spoilery.
I know it's very hard.
I mean,
But-
yeah, go ahead.
Well, mine's not really a small detail. It's just a facet that hasn't really come up yet. But in my head, I think of Kyana as a shockingly selfish person. And I think it's kind of interesting that just hasn't really come up yet, because the entire way that she functions is like, you know, I have to separate myself from everything I've ever known and everything around me to ask the question, what do I want in this moment? Which is why the beginning of season intense group conversation was so interesting, as like, oh, is this going to be it? Am I going to have to actually make the decision I know Kyana's going to make if pressed? And it just doesn't come up because she's nice and she's with people that she likes and agrees with. But it just hasn't come up that when it comes down to it, she has to go with what she thinks is right, no matter what.
That's very
I mean,
cool.
that-
I like that as
yeah.
a quote flaw. The like, I am very committed to my ideal, and like, screw anyone who disagrees with me. I'm just good. The Superman in the
Yeah.
Justice League fault, where he's like, well, okay, I know you guys are all like saying you know better, but I know better, so we're gonna do my thing.
I mean, she's very strongly based on Aang, and Aang starts and ends Last Airbender a fundamentally selfish person. That's an explicit conversation he has with the
True.
Avatar Yang Chen, I want to say, where she's like, selfless duty requires you to sacrifice your own spiritual needs for the good of the world, and he doesn't do that. But it's a victory because he's a child, and that's a show about how child soldiers shouldn't be needed. And it's a victory that they all get to still be kids at the end. Anyway, selfishness is not an inherently
That's-
unheroic quality, but it easily can be.
That's pretty amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thanks.
I'll go last because I'll ask you guys something before it happens. But does anyone else have anything?
Not particularly.
Okay. Okay.
Oh,
Well,
no.
let me throw this out there while you're thinking. I'll throw this out to the my 4 players. Is there an NPC you would like to know something about?
Oh,
Oh.
Without giving too much spoiler, I'll even go a little spoiler. Nothing crazy, but I'll throw you something interesting if you ask. Is there an NPC you guys want to know something about?
okay, guys. So Ione is one of them.
Okay.
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
are the
Where the
other-
fuck is Ione? Is she all right?
She has to tell us where she is eventually.
Yeah.
I guess there was that. I keep like not asking follow-up questions when people start dishing on their tragic backstory to me, and then they just don't continue. So we still don't know why and how Cressida left Menzo Baranzan.
Yeah.
I
Do
am
you
a
wanna
little
know-
curious.
I'll give you. Oh my goodness, this is gonna. Oof, there's so much juiciness there. Do you guys want it to be Cressida?
Well,
Well, hold on.
That's
Can we
my
each
vote.
ask one or?
No,
do we-
no.
Oh.
One.
Okay.
Okay.
Genie
All right.
rolls, I
Never
see.
mind. I thought we had 4, so I was like, okay, we'll ask about
That's too
Ione.
much.
We can ask about Cressida. I wanted to ask about the princess who was pregnant and like the
Oh,
fucking
yeah, is she
strange old
okay?
thing.
The princess I'll give you for free. The princess is doing well. So is her baby. She was
Aw.
ousted in a harsh but legitimate by the laws coup that occurred and ousted to the Astral Sea. She was picked
Whatever.
up by the pyramid and waited there. You guys brought her back after the coup had been undone, and she is ruling as she should.
Yay.
That one I'll give to you for free. Is there?
And they never
Are
had
you
to
going?
go
Are you
to
going
the
with Cressida?
peaceful kingdom.
Cressida, Cressida or Ione? Which one are you guys going with? Cressida.
Someone
or
roll it. Someone roll a d20. I
God.
can't. I can't make this
Why do we
decision.
need 20 sides for this?
Just like odds is whatever.
All right.
Evens
Heads
is
is
whatever.
Ione, tails is Cressida.
All right,
Hey
yeah, yeah.
Siri, flip a coin.
There we go. You do that.
It's tails.
What was that? What
That's
was tails?
Tails, Cressida.
Wait, Maxim. Maxim has a whole other pass.
Yeah,
that
there's
we don't
also
even know-
Maxim.
Ah!
We gotta pick one. Let's go with Cressida. Let's go. With
All right, let's do
Cressida.
Cressida.
Yeah.
Cressida was there's words for them, and I'm not gonna remember them. I would have looked them up if I'd known I'd had it. But Cressida was one of the elite warriors. So there are many drow civilizations. They're basically all neutral or good. Menzo Baranzan is a cult city. People there are brainwashed from an early age. It is an explicitly evil place to be from. Cressida was born there. She was brainwashed and part of that cult. She was one of the elite warriors because the entire city is a matriarchal society. So she was one of the tops in terms of
Stop it! Don't.
like badasses.
I didn't
She
say
was,
shit.
she was one of the. She was a great warrior.
Well,
Her
Roy's gonna have
sister-
fun with that, but anyway.
Roy did have fun with that.
Sorry, is that a spoiler? I forget.
What was I
I
saying?
give you the
Her
sweet,
sister.
beautiful boy. Corrupted.
Of course he needs a bad girl. He's a sweet, beautiful boy.
There's a
Her
lot.
sister was working on becoming a high priestess of Lolth,
Ah.
and in the trial that you have to undertake, her sister was not going to succeed. And Cressida, this is light on spoilers as I can go at. Cressida helped her succeed. But when you're trying to trick a goddess, it doesn't matter. And Cressida's sister was punished in the way that drow who failed that test are punished.
Uh-oh. I know
And
this one.
she is that helped to deprogram her, and sometime later she stole Lula, and they escaped.
She's John Wick.
Same hat.
She's John Wick. I don't know. I've only seen that movie once, but yeah. So she's it's not a happy one there.
Oh,
That's
she
rough,
got-
buddy.
She has a
So
very
there you go.
chipper
That's
attitude
that's
for
the
that, so.
that's the tea on Cressida. Anyone else
yeah.
deep stuff that you want to share? Now that
I
I
don't
took
know
some
if
time
it's
explaining
deep
her.
or it's just not particularly explicitly been stated yet, but I guess like for some Heap trio backstory, Dani, Roy, and Egan are in my mind the mechanic trio, but they're basically like the 3 straight mechanics of the Heap in that they don't have like a side gig as like a decal artist like Sadie does, or the muscle like the lizard guy Kazar, whatever his name is.
Yeah, we've never met him.
We haven't met him yet. But I imagine that they all sort of joined the Heap around the same time and have been kind of learning together. But also, as a little fun fact, Mandy was once in the mechanic trio, but they really hated it, and now they just work as like the odd job person instead, the fixer. So
Yeah. Also, gotta
That's
throw
why
a
they
little
don't get
defense to
along.
Mandy. Gotta throw a little defense to Mandy because people were like, "Can't believe Mandy let them go in there all by themselves into that volcano." Mandy is not an adventurer. Mandy just knows a lot of people, like has a lot of quote friends, very street smart. Mandy has probably between 7 and 14 hit points. they should not take Mandy into an adventure with them. Mandy will die.
In my mind,
they talk-
Mandy does a lot of what the crew would be doing around the city of Brass if Otto did not have Mandy to send on odd jobs and small tasks.
Yeah.
Everything there is nothing. Do you guys know everything about Virla right now?
That's true, actually. I know more about Virla. Wait, Wally, you should share. If you don't have something, you should share one of Finbar's exes.
Yes,
Oh.
go next.
Do I have to?
Yes.
Okay, let me pull it up. Let me pull it up.
Yes.
All right.
A random roll on the chart.
So, for the audience, I have a massive, I think it's like 5-page document now.
5 pages.
It's not
Or-
just all exes. There's
Okay.
No, my Finbar notes. Sorry.
How much of that is like bio on the? Okay.
At least 2 of that is bio.
Single spaced.
Okay. Okay. Let me pick a good one. Okay. So for a while, there was a changeling who worked under Riggs for the Searing Tongue. Zimrissa is her name, or their name, they, them. It was a very toxic on and off relationship due to being like a changeling. Her ability to change her physical appearance came across in like having a very volatile emotional state. Great spy, not considerate of others. It was like sort of like a doomed relationship from the start. But yeah.
Spicy.
Cool.
One of 6. I mean,
One of
5.
6.
Is one of them Elise?
Yeah, technically,
Okay,
yeah.
if one of them is Elise.
One of
And I
5.
think we've met one other.
Yes,
Can
we
we
have.
say who-
We have
Can
one.
we say?
Oh.
I think I know who it is, right?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
you guys. I think it's
Is it that seasonal?
Theologian
lady?
from the
Yeah.
bar.
See,
It's the
Sydney.
Aladdin.
Yes,
Yeah.
Sydney is another one of his exes. Yes.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is one shot, Scott Pilgrim style. I feel like
we
it's gotta
have to
happen.
battle royale our way through them.
Oh no! What it is Elise has to fight all of its exes.
Yeah, fair enough. That's what it's gonna be. Yeah.
But I think what it is that each of us has to play one of the exes that Elise.
Oh,
has
sure.
Oh, yeah.
Ah.
Because that leaves what 4 that aren't Elise or.
We're just making guess. Everyone leaves the episode after like 20 minutes.
Okay. Yeah.
I do have. I guess it's not even like a thing. It's a headcanon because it's based off of like another person in the crew, which visually hasn't really been established yet.
Ooh.
When we get to the season finale Q&A, I might bring that back up. But spoilers for now. So
Well, okay.
Okay.
yeah, it's
This is the problem with this being the Virla season and
gonna
him
be
having
spoilery.
amnesia.
Yeah. I got nothing, guys. I'm sorry.
Well, on that note, it was about time for us to wrap this Q&A up. Thank you to everyone who has joined us. There will be a regular episode upload this Friday, and this Q&A will be available basically immediately as a VOD on YouTube, and the audio will be up at some point tomorrow, depending on how quickly I get to it. I hope you guys have been enjoying this season. I know all of us have. So much mystery, so much turmoil. Ay, what are we doing? If you got any questions for us that we didn't answer, you can email them to us at rollwithdifficulty@gmail.com, and we will try to answer them in as expedient a manner as possible. But be aware that we do have quite a few of those in there, so we may not get to all of them right away. Hopefully we got to as many of your questions as we could. Dani season next season.
Yeah.
We have a Discord that's really cool. There's been a lot of really cool fan art and discussions going on over there. Definitely check it out. Linked in the show notes, the description below. Yada yada yada. Also Patreon, where you can see the College of Feasts, some more information on the Heap Workers, some little canon fan fiction from us about Davion and Athos, and a lot of other cool stuff.
Yeah, just Rosencrantz and Guildensterning their way across the Beastlands.
All I've ever wanted in life.
That's not the
We
descriptor I would have used for that.
just abandon this campaign and play that instead.
steamy.
Okay, I think it's time
The
to
buff
end
lion
this.
man and the
Hot
we don't need to
devil
get into
guy.
this.
Guys,
All right.
it's over.
We definitely don't need to. They know where it goes. So.
yeah. And if you subscribe at a high enough tier, maybe you'll get the X-rated version.
No!
We gotta go.
Absolutely
We gotta
not. All right.
fucking do it.
We gotta
All right.
go.
I'm
See
pulling
you
the
guys.
plug.
Everyone.
Thanks for
Thanks
joining
for
us.
joining.
We'll
Well.
catch you guys.